Okay.
Guys, I feel myself growing. I'm being pushed out my comfort zone. I'm growing now. It's painful. Growing pains. Okay.
Welcome to Milliseconds Apart podcast, where three online friends discuss about whatever they're interested in without no judgment and lots of love. I'm your host, Ruri. I'm a YouTuber and a medical student.
I'm Izzy. I'm finally a medical student at Cambridge University.
And I'm Matt, and I think the most attractive part of my body are my calves.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
Just as a side note.
I'm really picky on calves too, but anyways, we're not going to discuss about that right now.
Do you work out your calves?
Specific...
No, but I jump rope every day, so that's definitely helped.
Nice. Yeah, we'll come back to this topic another time, I guess.
Specific, like, kind of. anyways. Okay, so I think if you're watching this channel, you might think that, oh, what is this podcast about, or what is our aim actually is. And since we're actually not really clear about that, I thought maybe on this episode we can talk about what Milliseconds Apart the main goal is, and also about Izzy's and Matt's goal, because I talked about this and I actually made a video on my channel. So we're gonna today focus on our podcast and also goals of Izzy and Matt's. Okay, so let's start with the Milliseconds Apart main goal. What do you guys think about when it comes to main goal of this podcast? What type of direction you want to go?
From a life perspective, my main goal with the podcast is to be able to record these sessions, which we're doing, so that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I can look back and remember this time of life, remember our friendship, which I hope is still going at that time, and remember where it started. So that's kind of the personal note of the goal that I have with this, and to have these engaging chats to get to know about one another. But whenever it comes to the growth and the goals, which I think is one that we're really more harping on, which is like, hey, where do we see the growth coming? What do we envision? What do we hope for the channel? I hope that this becomes a space where we can build a community of people who are interested in growing the way that we're growing, who listen in, they tune in every single week because they want to get engaged and have a real discussion. You know, I think so commonly these days, and I get it because there's so many notifications that are coming in for especially the really big YouTubers, people post comments, but there's not much dialogue. I think that we could be different in that way. It may take a little bit more effort, but to actually engage, because we want to know how listeners feel. We want to get these other perspectives from people in all different parts of the world. And I envision us being able to build a community around these topics, around the positivity. We do talk about some things that maybe are more sad, and I think we'll probably get into those as we go, maybe the struggles that we face in life and such. So not glossing over those, but having real discussion about how we move forward to be able to live our best lives. So for me, that's how I envision it. When it comes to numbers, I mean, we can throw out numbers, like whether it's 10,000, it's 25,000, it's 100,000 subscribers, like in whatever time period. But I think it's more important. I'd be okay if we had a smaller audience, but it was very much engaged and we're actually like, having real purposeful dialogue where we're able to add value and perspective to people's lives, and they can do the same for us.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I think especially on this building this space for discussion. And I think for me, having this podcast and having this space to like formalize having these interesting chats and being able to share that with other people, I think is my main aim. It's probably a little bit more of a less ambitious aim, but just to be able to share these sorts of chats with friends about interesting topics with the world and put that little piece of stuff out there. And if someone feels like listening in and finds it interesting or helpful in some way, then that's fantastic.
Okay, so when it comes to my goals about this podcast, is that actually there are a lot of aspects. When talking about analytical way, I would say that I wasn't really able, or I am not really able to show my real personality or my opinions on my main channel, I would say. So I think it would be a really great idea to share my opinions and thoughts in a place where I know that I'm accepted and where, you know, two of my friends gonna listen to me and like without judgment. So I feel safe and loved, so I can express my opinions. When you're alone on your channel, you know, you versus thousands of people, so it's actually really easy to feel alone and be afraid to say what you're thinking. So I think it's gonna help to build the community and build the relationship, because when it comes to YouTube, it is really important to build the relationship between your viewers. So I think in an analytical way, this channel is gonna, you know, what's that?
just kind of give you the outlet, right? It just gives you that place. Well, and on that, if I can interrupt you real fast, Ruri, this is where a lot of people, they build out second channels to kind of show their real personality, to show more the behind the scenes. And this, to me, feels like, I mean, I don't have a channel big enough. This channel is going to surpass my main channel, very soon, which is amazing. But looking at that, where this is that sort of way, where exactly as you said, we're showing up as we are.
Yeah.
We're just sitting here, friends having a discussion. It's no real production. It's just us sitting down in front of our cameras talking. And that's that different side that can be so hard to find in the videos that we put out, which are more polished, which are more produced, which are more all that.
Yeah. And also, go ahead.
Oh, so what I was going to say was, and also just building on that point, I think it's almost practicing that muscle of being able to express yourself authentically. For me, at least, especially online, this isn't something I'm very used to necessarily, just having a chat with somebody and making it public and posting it on YouTube. Most of my stuff on my channel isn't just like a casual chat where it's very unfiltered and very rambly. So I think just practicing going through this and sharing this kind of conversation is also almost like, for me as well, something that is beneficial. And if it helps anyone else or is good fun along the way, then perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, in terms of relationship, I feel like even with my, like, real life friends, since I haven't met you in real life, I don't think that I talk about like this, different topics in such a deep way. We discuss quite a lot of like different topics and we go pretty deep in that. I think it really helps me to build my personality, and I think maybe it's really affecting me because I'm like significantly young, I think, for most of my audience as well too. So I'm in a place where I want to collect as much as opinions so that I can, understand myself, because I'm currently in a place that I don't really know myself, and I'm currently on a journey to explore myself a little more. So I think it really helps me in that way too. It's just like, really good for my soul, to be honest, to talk about things and express myself and, do outputs and everything. So it's good for my soul, good for my channel, good for our friendship, and good for the viewers as well. So it's just like a win-win situation.
Yeah, it's just great energy all around.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so when it comes to the personal YouTube, your channels, what are your main goals about YouTube channel? It can be about like input goals as well as output goals.
Yeah, this is something I've been actually struggling with recently. So at the time of filming this, it's just been the new year, and I've been thinking a little bit about my goals and all the things moving forwards. And I've kind of realized that I often shy away from making goals about YouTube because a lot of it feels like an output goal, something that's out of my control, and that I can't necessarily predict based on my input. So I often shy away from that kind of thing. I've been trying to think of how I can frame some kind of goal or system and motivate myself more. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on this, Matt, and how you think about YouTube goals.
Yeah, so I've also been putting a lot of thought into this with goal setting for next year and how YouTube incorporates with everything else in life. And it was actually a conversation with Ruri that it really helped me to be able to think about the output goals with YouTube. Because similar to you, I think almost exclusively in terms of input goals, because I think about I will go to the gym every day. I will read these things. I will write this. I will create videos X amount of times, all that sort of thing. And I think for the vast majority of life, for me, that's been so good. But it's because I've been able to control more of those results, or I would see the results more frequently. And maybe that has to do with school. I didn't really I've slacked off in school a lot, so I didn't do as well. So it would have been with school. It is with, going to the gym. It is with friendships where I see the result of the inputs that I put. And so that is the motivating part to move forward. However, I've also shied away from setting YouTube output goals because, to your point, we can't control as much. But what for me personally, and it's going to be different for each of us, I was doing it to insulate myself from failure so that if there was growth, that was just a bonus. But if there wasn't growth, I wouldn't be a failure. But there's no such thing as failure. And I think that that's what I've realized there, where for me, setting an output goal. So I set the goal of saying I want to have 10,000 subscribers at the end of the year. But what those 10,000 subscribers represent to me are that, one, I consistently put out work, but not only did I consistently put out work, I consistently got better at putting out work that connected with other people. Because I think that so much of the time, and maybe it's because of the familiarity with the certain goals or the certain things that I did, where I know the outputs that I'm doing in certain aspects of life are correct. I know that they're valuable, whether it's journal every single day, track my life, like take pictures. I can see they're getting better, like all that. But when it comes to YouTube, I can get to the point where I'm producing a video a week, but that part is like, all right, but am I actually growing? Am I actually getting better? So I see the output as, honestly, it's an arbitrary number. I could have thrown out 5,000. I could have thrown out 25,000, whatever it is. But at least that number gives me that target of saying, all right, this is where we're striving towards by putting in the day-to-day work. And then by the end of the year, maybe I surpassed 10,000 in the middle of the year. Then I can reassess. Maybe I don't hit it. And then like by the end of the year, and then I can really figure out, okay, what is going wrong? What can I tweak? So that's kind of how I've approached the output part with YouTube.
Yeah. So I think I really like the kind of way you're reframing the idea of this output goal as not being a failure if you don't hit it, more as a kind of guideline. I think maybe I can incorporate that a little bit more into the way I think about it. Because I think currently, so I was having a discussion with someone about this recently and talking about how I feel exactly what you're describing, that sense of fear of failure if I set an output goal that is out of my control and also quantitative, so I can say definitively whether or not I hit it. Because at the end of the year, the numbers, they're not going to lie. Like it's not like a subjective thing. It's very much like quantitative. So I was thinking, like, what are things actually that excite me? So actually, I was thinking, firstly, why do I need an output goal? What is the point of an output goal for YouTube? And I guess it's, in a way, maybe a motivator, like what you're saying. It's a sort of this motivation. This is where we're going. This is the trajectory. This is the direction. And I guess for me, I was trying to think of something that would excite me, like something that I would generally be like, oh, this is such a good outcome if I manage to achieve it. So I've been toying with this idea of having my output goal of YouTube be more about the connections with people. So through my YouTube channel, sometimes people send me emails, or they'll send me DMs. And so I've actually had a couple of emails from interesting people who like genuinely like wanted to connect. And were like, oh, like, can we jump on a Zoom call or something along those lines? And I've been like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I wasn't expecting an email from anybody, but like, yeah, go for it. And actually it was a really lovely chat and really nice to get to know somebody. So shifting it to maybe increasing the number of those kinds of interactions, those kinds of connections, those kinds of relationships, and making that the output instead of the subscriber count for me feels more motivating, because it's something I actually get excited about and actually feels like, wow, this is cool. Because the subscriber count, seeing it go up, it's exciting in one way, but it's also, it just sort of is a number. And I appreciate every single subscriber who watches all my videos and everything. I really love reading all the comments. But it's sometimes hard to really connect that to an actual person, just seeing the numbers go up. So I've been trying to think of whether that's a better way of thinking about YouTube goals. Anyway, this is getting very like philosophical about goal setting rather than like hard YouTube goal numbers. But yeah. How about you, Ruri? I'd actually be interested to hear some of like your thoughts on this. I know you mentioned you have a video on it, but
yeah,
it would be cool to hear.
I can talk about my like previous YouTube goals and how I viewed YouTube. Like, it's been almost a year, I think I would say, and we hit 300K, and I'm going to explain the mindset behind that. I think it's a little dangerous, and it's a lot of stressful way to think about it, but it definitely works for some people, so I'm going to explain that. So I took a break from med school, and in that period of time, like I knew that I had 1 year, and I decided to focus on YouTube. And I promised myself that this is going to be the year that I can finally rely on YouTube. My actually initial goal was to hit 1,000 subscribers, but by hitting that number, I know that I'm going to be in some sort of flow, and I know that I will make this YouTube thing. I'm going to succeed. Even if that was just like 1,000 subscribers. I told myself that it's gonna, no matter what, at the end of the day, we're gonna hit that place. And in order to hit that place, I'm gonna learn anything about YouTube. It can be marketing, it can be analytics, it can be maybe reading the comments, and it can maybe like adjusting the geography and all that stuff. And I'm gonna learn about these technical things. And no matter what, we're gonna surpass this number. And my initial goal was to hit 1 million in 3 years, even though it's just like a very big dream, you know? 1,000 subscribers in first year and then 1 million in 3 years.
Wow.
But by setting that ambitious goal to myself, I told myself that failure is normal. I think, 3 years and 1 million is like a huge goal, I think. But I told myself failure is normal. So if you fail, that's normal. So that's totally okay. But you're going to succeed because you're going to give everything you have and, prioritize it and, make every single thing that you can possibly think about. And sometimes in my dreams, I was reading the analytics and at some point I just like went crazy and, it really affected my mental health. So it's not a really healthy way to do it. But I would say that having that mindset, failure is normal, but we're going to succeed, is really empowering. So in that way, if you fail, you're just average. If you succeed, then that's awesome. I think that's the mindset that I have.
Oh, I love that so
Ruri,
much.
I admire that so much. And I know your goal you set for next year was 750,000. And it's so easy to look at that and say, wow, that's a big number. But instead, I like that mindset shift where you're like, yeah, that's not a big number. It just is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And, failure is normal. Like the upside of that is like, oh, that'd be really cool. Because I think that also keeps a detachment from it. Because even if you hit it, it's like, all right, great, we hit it. Just another thing. Yeah. As opposed to like, all right, everything's a success, right? Just because you hit it. Instead, it's just another step along the way.
Yeah, exactly.
This is inspiring me to think of an ambitious goal as well. Yeah, because I guess like it's that sense of like it not being a failure. That's what I really find very inspiring about what you just said, because I guess I don't have to attach this idea of if I don't hit it, then it is a failure, because it isn't.
It's normal.
Yeah. Okay. I guess maybe it's right now like then I'm going to set a goal. Are you ready for my goal?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What do you think is realistic? In a year's time,
we're not thinking about, and then should we?
We're
take
not thinking about realistically.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
let's. I think it needs to be realistic but optimistic, optimistically realistic, or realistically optimistic. Something along those lines.
Izzy, tell me your number, and I'm gonna tell you your number. Stop it, Izzy. You're still like a little shy about this.
Yeah, I'm shy.
Let's get out of your comfort zone.
Okay, so wait, Matt's goal is what, 10,000 in a year?
Yeah, no, I'm doubting mine now. I need to set mine to like 25.
No need to doubt. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So mine is going to be, I'm going to go for 20k. Yeah, 20k.
20k, okay.
Actually, I think if I'm consistent,
I feel like you're selling yourself short.
Yeah.
I feel like you can grow.
Yeah.
I feel like you can grow. Fast there is.
Let's
because
say 50k.
You radiate something.
50k. Is that the decree from Ruri? It's 50k.
I do think that you can hit 50k. Yeah.
Okay.
And what about you, Matt?
Yeah, I think that mine's at 25. And here's the reason. Like, here's my thinking behind it. Is I'm still finding that voice that connects with people. I think that my motivation is still at this point in the making videos, it's still too much thinking about like, me just getting my thoughts out there, as opposed to shifting the mindset towards like, oh, this is what I can teach and the value that I can give. But I think that once I find that, right, in the way that I communicate, it can grow like crazy. But I think it's still going to take that time of making videos all the time. So like I think about it where it's like, all right, 25 this year, like, 150 next year. Like I really think that it could increase like crazy.
I think during our podcast and all that stuff, I think you can find it too. So your goal is 50k too. Okay, now.
Okay, we're both aiming for 50k.
It is. Yes.
By the end of 2022. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. It's 50k. Oh my god.
I think when it comes to YouTube,
I'm so out of my comfort zone.
But I'm going to tell you guys something that really helped me along the YouTube journey, is that I think the confidence that you have toward YouTube really shows in your videos. Because my brother, I got the Sony ZV-1, and I got it with the money that I earned from my part-time like cafe and Japanese like side job. So at that time, so it was like, it took me 1 month to buy that camera. So it was like a huge investment at that time. And my brother was telling me that don't do it. You have been doing this like for years and you haven't succeeded. So don't buy that camera. Start with your iPhone. And then eventually you'll grow and then maybe you'll be able to buy that camera. And I was telling my brother that watch me in 3 years hitting 1 million and becoming the best YouTuber. And you're going to be so proud of me. And I'm going to buy that camera, and I bought it.
Yes.
And
yes,
also
Ruri.
people were like, you know, asking me, oh, so you're doing this YouTube thing again? And I was like, yeah, and I'll be a big YouTuber soon. Watch me. And I think that like self-confidence is really important because it really shows in your videos. And like, even if you don't have that like charisma, I don't think that I have like that charisma. I think I fake it quite a lot. So I think it's just like that hyping yourself towards your YouTube videos and being proud of it. Because I remember like when, you know, vlogging publicly, I would hide my camera so that people won't notice that I'm filming for YouTube. But having that confidence and, you know, it just like radiates. So I think it's really important when it comes to your goals. So 50K is now official.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, right.
Stamped.
This is, I need to learn a bit of this confidence that Ruri has and just go for it. Okay, it's 50K. We're gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And now that we have a goal, we can develop a plan to get to that goal and execute on it. It's going to be good.
Exactly.
I guess we'll see if we manage to hit our goal or not. And either way, actually, this is what I'm going to do. It's not a goal. It is a prediction. It's a prediction.
No,
Why
see,
are you
Iz,
so
I'm with
scared?
you. Is I'm with you.
Izzy, it's a
'cause
goal.
I'm with you. Right, it's our goal. Like, I'm with you because I have that
Okay,
hesitation too. But I'm trying to tell myself, like, no, screw it. Like, we're setting the gauntlet. We're saying, we're declaring that it's the thing. We're doing it.
Oh,
Okay.
guys,
So-
guys, I feel myself growing. I'm being pushed out my comfort zone. I'm growing now. It's painful. Growing pains. Okay, 50K.
Okay.
Let's go. It's a goal.
Anybody
more.
who's currently watching this episode and feels like a little, you know, feels shy towards goals like Izzy, drop us a comment. I'm going to hype you up in the comments down below.
Yes. Ruri's the best
all you
hype
need
girl.
is confidence. Yeah, fake it till you make it. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast, and see you guys in next video. Bye.
See ya.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a wrap.